right, welcome in everybody. It is about that time again. So it's the second Wednesday of every month. We kind of hang out. Janie leads the conversation in a topic that really the goal is to move the needle in the business. Like it's all about implementation. It's all about learning one more new thing you can put into your business to grow your business each week. So Janie, I'm absolutely honored to have you here every other Tuesday to drop the gold nuggets of content, information, and connect with all the real estate agents out there across the U.S. So welcome, actually world, which is awesome. I just talked to somebody in Canada. So cool.
Awesome. Hey, super excited to be here. This is always such a fun time of the month when we're able to share this with everybody. So what do we want to talk about today, Jeremy? Remind me.
We are talking about all about this. What the heck is a listing flywheel and what does it mean to your business? And here's the kill, guys. Listings are kind of the meat and the potatoes of real estate, right? It's where we really need to figure out how to use the most, how to leverage listings, how to freaking get listings, and what does that look like? Because guys, there's so many agents in this world that have this up and down, right? They always have this like consistent, man, things are awesome. Oh man, things suck. And if you haven't been there, I've been there. I know how it feels like. And so, our goal, guys, is to build this sustainable system that actually makes you feel like you want to get up every day and do real estate, right? That's what we got to get to. You got to love what you do. So Jane's got a system, guys, and that's what we're going to dive into.
Awesome. Jeremy, do you know what a flywheel is?
I've got several different flywheel options. Like for me, it's like it's a direction, but I'm sure most people don't. So what's a flywheel to you?
Yeah. So a flywheel it's a mechanical structure, I guess you could use the word. We've all seen those bicycles, huge wheel on the back of the bicycle, smaller wheel on the front of the bicycle. We've seen railroad engines or engines, not engines, but mechanical contraptions on railroad lines, huge wheel in the back, small wheel in the front. And what a flywheel is, and we've seen other things powered that way, it's when you have a big wheel with a smaller wheel. And just like if you're bicycling, when you're just getting started or when you're doing anything in life, it takes a bit of time to get going, to get that big wheel to go, and sometimes it's really hard to get it to go all the way around. But once you get the flywheel going, the momentum of the flywheel keeps it going. And so that's the whole point that we want to really hone in on to today is your listings really are your business flywheel. So it sometimes takes time to get those listings, takes time to market the listings, takes time to sell the listing. But as you do that, that is getting that big wheel going. So that I should have put a picture of it in here. As it gets that going, then it is the momentum that not only pushes you along, it almost pulls you along too. So that's
my guess, Jenny, is that there's agents that feel what that feels like. Like you get things going and all of a sudden things start hitting and left and right. But the hardest part in a flywheel, though, is that initial momentum, that initial push. And I think that's what we're going to talk a lot about today.
Yeah. When I moved to a new market 11 years ago and I didn't know anybody, I didn't have a single sale in the area. I didn't know how to pronounce the names in the area. I didn't know anything. I knew real estate, but I didn't have any other momentum in this market. And I had to start from a cold scratch start. And it was lonely and it was painful and it was scary. And I used to make the analogy of like Jiffy Pop popcorn.
Oh, yes.
Months into it, I'd hear a little pop. And that meant somebody called me, maybe to ask me about my services. And then I heard another pop. And maybe I got a listing. And then I got a pop where maybe, somebody from an open house for the one listing I had might be interested in that. And then it was like pop, just like Jiffy Pop popcorn.
Yep.
So that's kind of like the flywheel, other than the Jiffy Pop doesn't stop when it's ready. It just keeps going. So that's why I transitioned from my Jiffy Pop popcorn analogy to the flywheel analogy.
I love it.
So let's get on into it. Again, Jeremy said, my name is Janie Coffey. I'm the co-chair of eXp's luxury division, and I am passionate about helping agents raise their price point in whatever way feels good and exciting for them. For some people, that might be the uber luxury top 1.5% of the market. For some people, that might be the top 10% of the market, or going into a niche that's a higher price than what you have been selling in general. So my whole goal for you with all the training that I do is to help you raise your average sales price. That is the biggest way to give yourself a pay raise.
I think that's a huge thing to think about, though, because like most agents are like, man, I just got to get more listings. I got to get more listings. But what if you just elevated your price point by $100,000?
Right.
You know, that alone could like be a complete game changer for an agent. And so I think there are multiple ways to think about it. Yes, more listings are always good. Don't get me wrong. But is there other options by just increasing and getting to a different price range? That alone literally puts you at different price brackets. I mean, it's crazy how that little element adds up.
And it doesn't have to be, Jeremy, it doesn't have to be all your listings. So I'm just talking about your average price point. So let's say your average price point is 500,000 or 600,000. Easier math for my brain. Let's say your average price point is 600,000. You sell a few 700,000-800,000. You sell a few 300,000 or 400,000. But now you increase your average price point to say 900,000. You've increased your average price point 50%. Maybe that just came from a few $1.5, $2 million properties throughout the year. You know, the rest, but your average price point is now 900,000. You've literally given yourself
crazy
a 50% raise. Of course, you have a little bit more expenses because of the added marketing for those listings, but you might have fewer listings on a whole, so your marketing might flesh out to be the same. So absolutely raising your average price point 25%, 33%, 50% is the easiest way to give yourself the biggest, fattest raise possible. So why we wanted to talk about listings, we all know list to last. We all know list to last. But a lot of times people think, you know, get the listing, market it, sell it, move on. Kind of like a car salesperson. Get the person in the dealership, sell them the car, move on. Tomorrow, sell somebody else a car, sell somebody else a car. But I want you to reframe your way of thinking to think about your listings as a complete leveraged flywheel to get that flywheel going further. So listing advisors, so, you know, higher price listing specialists, they see a listing, it helps create visibility. That's a win for you. It helps create authority. That's a win for you. It helps create trust, content, referrals, future sellers, future buyers. The finish line is not just closing the sale, because it becomes this whole big mechanism, that whole flywheel. So
the difference if you could get 4 referrals from that one deal, that's a game changer. Like and not only that, because now you're in a relationship with them, right? You've done a deal with them, you connected with them. Now they trust you to do more things. So now they trust you with their friends, and that's where a lot of times we just drop the ball as agents, like in general. You know,
I was going to say, I think the higher you go in price point, the more often referrals become really, really important to your business. It becomes because there's less competition of other agents out there. If you go into higher price points, or if you go into specialties, there's fewer agents. So it becomes very, very important that you treat it holistically. So the value left on the table, where do some agents sometimes not maximize the juice of the lemon? Like they're not getting all the juice of the lemon out. So sometimes agents are not maximizing that before the sale. They have untapped opportunity to establish authority, create neighborhood trust, attract future sellers, even before the sign goes in the ground. Depending on how you work with, you know, coming soons and things like that, you can be building your email list. You can be putting out your marketing saying, hey, this listing is coming soon. People might see you around the listing, helping get it ready. So there's a lot of stuff even before the activity goes that you can be getting yourself out there. It can be some great content. Hey, getting my listing ready. I remember the other day, we were decluttering a house, a big house. It was, you know, several thousand square feet, to get it ready for photos. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a missed opportunity for me. I should have set up a camera and done like time lapse of all the stuff we did behind the scenes to get this home ready for the listing photos, because that shows hard we
because Jenny, that's huge. Because I'm looking at, I mean, what if I watch this, right? And I've got a home that's been needing to be sold for the next, I mean, probably years down the road needs to be sold. And I'm cluttered. I've got stuff everywhere. And I just don't want to touch it.
Right.
But if I see you and your team coming in and making those, helping me with that, that's a relief that literally I'll be like, oh, okay, maybe we can do this. Like the small things add up.
Yeah. These folks for this particular listing were in California. They're staying long-term in California. We're here in Florida. So we went through, we made a list of all the things they need to do to get the home show ready that they can schedule from California. Then we brought in the boxes, the tape, the packaging stuff, and just made it model home ready versus, lived in home ready. But you're right, that would give people a feeling of comfort. So sometimes that's a missed opportunity. During the listing, how many times do you miss the opportunity to make great content about your listing, about your services, uncovered, untapped buyer leads that might be in your database already, underutilized showing feedback? Because as you gather that feedback, that's great feedback for the seller, but it's also great feedback to start kind of building in conversation points with future sellers. And then not having great seller communication. For sure, I feel strongly that poor seller communication during the term of the listing is the number one lead to expired listings, not negotiated offers that were otherwise good, and missed referral opportunities because the seller just doesn't have a good, warm, cozy feeling about what a great job their agent did. And it doesn't take you more than 10 or 15 minutes a week to really change that communication feeling with your seller. Then after the close, we've all been guilty of this. We didn't have a sold story. We didn't ask them for a review. We didn't ask them for a referral or do something that might encourage them to think about referring. We didn't do anything in the neighborhood to shout out what a great transaction this was and how you help people sell or buy. And those are all just quiet missed opportunities that if we're thinking about every listing as a flywheel, a leverage lever, that it will really start to show you all the opportunities throughout the day with your listings to really build that giant pipeline.
Hey, somebody came in and somebody asked, do you have a thorough checklist or things to do, before or after? I don't know if Jane's got one handy, but I'm going to give you what we give all of our luxury members. I'm going to go and give it to you because if you're watching Instagram, I'll put in the Instagram chat as well, but I'm going to put it on the YouTube chat for sure. This is a direct link to a Google Drive file, guys. That's going to, if you just copy it and put it into your URL, this is going to give you guys your outreach script pack, the luxury launch checklist. It's going to give you 4 or 5 great resources, and I'm just giving it to you. So I had it handy. I went to search for it, and I found it. So there you go.
Awesome. So the shift we would like you to have, if you haven't had it already, is shift from the mindset of I need another listing. We all feel like that all the time, to every listing I build, every listing I get builds another one. So if you shift your mindset, you will then be thinking, not just focused on that listing, but how that is part of that flywheel, part of that mechanism that kind of keeps the momentum going forward. And then it just becomes, when a flywheel is totally optimized, it's inertia. It just keeps you going and it keeps building stuff because you put all these little things in. So I want you to take a screenshot of this page. We're going to go through some things and I want you to rate yourself. We're going to talk about brand voice. We're going to talk about research. We're going to talk about lead gen, listing appointment, servicing your listing, and then rinse and repeat. And I want you to rate yourself from a 1 being I could improve to all the way up to a 5, which would be strong. And then at the end, my goal for you at the end in about 30 minutes from now is to at least have 1 or 2 actionable items that you're going to work on in the next 30 or 60 days. Is that a good deal?
Man, self-audits are so hard, but they're eye-opening because I actually have it on my calendar, which is, I know I'm weird like that, but I've got it on my calendar every quarter to self-audit my systems. So like, am I doing a good job onboarding? Am I doing a good job, communicating with new agents in my membership? Like that's my kind of task. And believe me, guys, I rate myself 1s quite a bit because I'm like, I sucked at that this month. And it's okay to know that as long as you can make corrections. And that's what this is about, is making some corrections.
making some corrections, making some improvements, inserting a few little easy to do things. Like I could have very easily, with that example before, I could have very easily had a phone set up on a tripod and just done that time lapse. It would have been great content. But like you said, it's building trust and a feeling of ease with sellers that, you know, I'm not out here by myself having to get this property ready. It's just something like that.
Good.
So this is the way the luxury listing infinity system works. So the flywheel is the mechanism that keeps things going, but the infinity system is the things to put in place to give that forward momentum with the flywheel. So you've got to start with your brand voice, and your brand voice is your authority, your aesthetic, your market position. Like, what is your brand voice? Do you have a defined look? Do people think about you in some kind of clear way? Because you can't have, and I see this all the time, where people haven't defined their brand voice. And so one time they have these kind of colors and fonts. One time they're talking about this thing or that thing. Certainly in your career in real estate, you can shift and evolve, but it shouldn't be like completely scattered all the time. So as you shift and evolve, it should be in big kind of seasons of your life. So if you haven't yet really worked on your brand voice and what are your colors, your themes, your vibe, spend some time doing that. I would make it blendable with your brokerage's aesthetics, just so that you're able to use whatever graphics they provide, whatever materials they provide. You can make it blend, but I would still make it stand out. You don't want to look like just a clone of everybody else from that brokerage. You want to have your own vibe and flavor, but it should blend. The next thing you want to do, and this is where another thing where I see agents kind of not always taking the time they need to, is just do a little research in your MLS, in the MLS data with market intelligence and niche expertise to see where are the most untapped areas in the market that you serve that you can start to hone in on and focus on. I see too many agents either say, oh, I just sold something in this neighborhood or this condo. I'm going to totally farm that condo. And what they don't know about that condo is that condo sells terribly, whereas the one next door is selling really, really well. Or some person just completely dominates that condo because they sold everything in there when it was new and they live there. You know, so just do the market research to make sure where you're going to apply your efforts are going to bring you the biggest fruit.
I think Janie, that alone is huge because you are looking for opportunities, right?
You're looking for opportunity.
For what's missing in your marketplace. Like, I'll just give you an example. I did a one-on-one session last week or week before that with an agent out west, and literally they're going to go back into farming probates. So like we made a really cool probate letter to send out to all the probates, and we haven't done that in years, and I hadn't talked to anybody about doing it in years. I was like, this is cool. Like, it's sometimes coming back, guys, and going back to the foundations. Like, this guy started doing probates like 20 years ago, and now he said, I'm going to go back to it, because he saw that it was a missing piece. And so whatever that is in your market, find that missing piece and figure out a way to break into it. There's so many different options, like expireds and for sale by owners. And like, I could walk through so many different options, guys, or niche marketing, right? Farming just waterfront properties. Like, there's so many options in that. And so just find out what that is for you and build it into your business.
Yeah. Yeah. Which leads us right into the next thing is every agent needs to proactively be doing lead generation. And lead generation, everything under the sun falls under that umbrella term. That could be farming postcards. That could be going after expireds. That could be networking. That could be going hard on social media or hard into, YouTube, or, holding amazing open houses, or, online paid lead ads or something like that. But so many agents that struggle to get consistency don't have a consistent lead generation engine. You can't do them all. You should have 1, 2, 3 max, and only try to get one going before you start to build the next one. My personal ones are direct mail, expireds, a little bit social, but really direct mail and expireds, and of course sphere of influence, based on my niches. Those are my lead gen things. I focus almost solely on listings unless it's a past client or a friend, but mindfully doing lead generation, pick it out, and then consistently doing it every single day is another part of creating that flywheel.
I love it. I think those are all fantastic, guys. And so think about, do you have a system that's going to bring in leads, or even I say leads in a different way, because I also think touching your database is potential good opportunity.
Absolutely.
So, like for me, I've got two realms. One, I'm driving as much traffic as I can to my website. Like, I don't care what it is, I'm driving traffic. That's my goal. And then, because I know it's a numbers game, if I get 100 people to visit and one person fills it out, okay, let's get 200 people to visit next month, and I'll get 2 or 3 people to fill it out. And so I'm driving traffic, whatever that is. Or maybe you haven't provided value to somebody. Like, just providing value to somebody, that's a lead gen opportunity, because literally you're giving somebody a resource they didn't have before, and you're going to build the trust up. So, whether it's farming postcards like Janie does, or it's expired listing reach outs, or if it's probate, or if it's, doing content where they can only get it on your website, like, there's some cool opportunities, guys, that are just kind of maybe you haven't thought about. And so if you don't have at least 3 to 10 people added to your database, I'm going to say every other week, then what are you missing out on? What can you do to make that happen?
Yep. The next thing I want you to make sure is that you're ready for your listing appointment. So do you have your dialed in listing presentation? Do you have your materials? Are you ready to go? Are you feeling comfortable and confident? Then when you get the listing, make sure that you have a listing servicing plan. How are you going to market it? How are you going to stay in contact? Remember I said connection and conversation and feedback and updating to sellers is super, super important. That alone, just great communication with your sellers before, during, and after a listing alone is a huge lever for this listing flywheel. Then rinse and repeat. So the whole thing is, you've closed out your listing. You're going to, get them a closing gift. You're going to do all the things to wrap it up properly. You're going to share the good news and all of this. And it just becomes this giant, giant flywheel of momentum. So the pyramid, which is the parts of the infinity system, is, and you can take a screenshot if you want, really as a foundation, making sure you have a brand voice that's recognizable. That's your vibe, that's your aesthetic, that's what you stand for, where it is just very clear who you are, how you can help people. And if somebody sees some of your stuff, even sometimes without reading your name or seeing a picture of your face, they're like, oh, that's Jeremy, or oh, that's April. I have several agents like that I know their branding as soon as I see them, even if I don't see their name or anything else. Oh my gosh, that's Holly Meyer Lucas. Oh my gosh, that's Ann Jeanette or something like that. Then you're going to do your research. You're going to work on what are your lead generation types. You're going to make sure you're great for the listing appointment. You're ready to go. You're going to have a whole listing servicing plan in place, and then your rinse and repeat system. So before, this is where I want you to grade yourself. Before the listing appointment, like, you've nailed your brand voice. Have you worked on luxury language and mindset? Have you gone through your MLS to make sure that you really understand what's going on in the market, so you have that market intel? Have you established maybe some kind of niche positioning? Your listing appointment, do you have a listing appointment tracker? We should all have a listing appointment tracker. And then develop your foundational luxury knowledge base based on the area that you work, the price point that you work, the specialty that you work. Preparation, I can't tell you how many agents I've coached and trained over the years that are new to real estate, and their first listing or second listing, often on their own, just with a little bit of my coaching in the background, is already a high price, top 5% price point listed and sold, just because they were so prepared, they felt good, they felt confident, and that came through to the seller. So it doesn't really even have anything to do with years in the business. It's how much do you take this as a profession, that you're going to prepare yourself properly, you're going to prepare your mind, your knowledge, and the way you show up to the world.
And I tell you what, it's all about the prep too, right, guys? We have to be prepped and prepared, because like, I've got an agent that he swears by it. He has a video he sends out to every single potential client that comes in, and it literally lays out his whole plan in under like 2 minutes. Like, it's crazy. And that alone builds up trust.
Yeah.
So like when they get this video, before they even met this guy, before they even talked to him, they've got this video of this guy sharing his process and why he's different than every other agent. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty freaking cool that you could build trust without even really talking to them yet. And they will see this. By the way, people Google you. I'm just gonna be honest. Before they even do an appointment with you, they're Googling you. They're looking you up on Instagram. They're looking to see what your brand vibe is. And that alone could either build trust or it could lose trust. And so we just got to kind of think through those a little bit and be prepared to win the listing before you even go to the listing.
Yeah. Next thing, when you have a listing, think of all the ways that you can market the listing, but also simultaneously market yourself. Direct mail to prospects, or direct mail if you have a list that you nurture. I'm always teaching everybody, go in your MLS, search 2 years back of expired listings that you would love to have, that have not relisted, haven't sold, they're not on the market as active. Download that list, make that your mailing list, and every time you get a new listing or an open house or a closed sale, mail to that list so they see how active you are. As you do that, start to build your email list and email them out a beautiful email about your listing with a video embedded in it, maybe what you love about it. And you're really kind of building that authority and that trust and that brand recognition with the sellers, future sellers, around the success that you're having with your current listings. If you have a listing that's special, either the listing itself is special or it's historic or the owner who lives there, there's some special feature about the house, put your thinking caps on and see how can you maybe get some PR for this listing. I've been super successful getting tons and tons of PR for my listing. And does that sell your listing? Absolutely not. Like, it hasn't for me yet. But now you've got, as seen in media, as seen in the Wall Street Journal, as seen in Forbes, as seen in Barron, and I can show future sellers, here's all the times I was able to get national and international or local press coverage, not paid ads, press coverage about my listing. So many agents sleep on this, and it's free.
Oh, yeah.
So, think about that.
Well, there's honestly, Jenny, this, there's in any news organization, so any kind of that publishes anything, if there's a real estate section, those guys are waiting for you to give them stuff. Like literally,
absolutely.
I've got 3 or 4 friends of mine that are in the news area here in Central Kentucky, and literally I could send them something. They'd be like, "Oh, thank you, man. I've been trying to figure out what to write about. I've been didn't know what to," and I'm like, it's really not that hard to go out there and make those connections. And then I'll tell you what, I've got a cool story I'll share with you along the whole lines of your circle marketing. So like, let's say you get a listing in this area. I've got one guy, I think they're down in the Miami area, I believe. And what they do is they use a company, I think it's thinks.o is what they use. Yeah. And they send out 50 postcards to all the homes around them. They're nice little black, and basically it's a VIP first look, basically is what he calls it.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was like a black that says, get your first look of a home in your area or a home in your neighborhood. And it has like 4 or 5 pictures inside of it. And then it has a QR code they can scan to go to the open house, that kind of stuff. But he swears by it. He's like, that's great. I get my name in front of all. I mean, it's better than putting a sign in the yard, he says, because a lot of people won't drive by that house if they're not in a certain part of the neighborhood, but they'll at least see this card. If they throw it away, they see that, well, what is this? And it just steals mind share. So is it worth $50? Yeah, I think so.
100%.
And I'm like, there's small little things we can do that don't cost a lot that can really make an impression on your brand and get your name out there more.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole flywheel, because he's marketing himself at the same time as marketing his listing. So everything is keeping that flywheel going. It's not get a listing, bury your head in the computer to market the listing, keep the seller updated, negotiate that deal at some point and sell it and just forget about the rest, because then you're starting from zero all the time. But if every step of the stage with your listing is used as fuel for that flywheel, you will continually be pulling in more opportunities, more opportunities, and more opportunities. The next thing I want you to think about is, how is your advisory leadership? Like, how do you feel when you're sitting down, having a listing presentation, going over pricing strategy, going over marketing strategy, demonstrating your understanding and attention to sellers' goals? Just how confident do you feel with all of that? And if not yet fully or something like that, that might be something that you want to polish up, because that's all part of it as well. Service is proved by your standard. You prove your standard publicly, meaning, are you doing great media? Do you have great photos, great audio, great video? Have you done something really, really special? Are you going above and beyond with your marketing for your listing? Are you doing an amazing job with seller communication? Do you have a showing strategy? As you go up in price point, you might have to accompany the buyer's agent and the buyer at every single time, or even if you don't, do you have a system set up to make that whole A to Z showing feel like a really great experience for the buyer's agent to schedule and get the information they need, to have it beautifully presented when the buyer's agent shows up with their buyers, for their buyers to feel like this is all about letting them experience the house, and then the following up with both the buyer's agent and the sellers? Like, do you have a thoughtful strategy and structure put in place for that whole part? Because we work so hard to get people in the door. I showed a listing yesterday. It was on lockbox, but every curtain was completely dark. Every, light was off. It just, they hadn't bothered to tidy up the home at all. It just did not, the grounds were a little bit overrun. It just wasn't a great experience for me and my buyers. I've had plenty of listings also on lockbox where the listing agent makes sure that the curtains are open, the lights are on, maybe music is on, even if it's on lockbox. The property is cleaned up so that when we go, it still feels like a great experience. It doesn't feel like we're, worried about who's going to jump us or something like that. So just,
we've all been to those properties.
Think about that strategy. So even your home's on lockbox, you can make sure there's an amazing experience. I've had plenty of listings I've gone to, again, that maybe the agent's not there, but there's beautiful brochures there. There's all the information we need is laid out. There might be snacks and drinks laid out where they've really made it an amazing experience. So these are all the little things that, again, can make that listing flywheel. The next thing, recycled. After the sale, that's just the beginning of the flywheel. So rating yourself. Do you do a closing gift? Do you do a nice closing gift that's a nice gift for the seller that's not just a promotional thing for you? Yep. Do you show gratitude to them? Do you share that sold story and that case study with your sphere of influence and the other people you're staying in touch with? Do you gently and nicely kind of have a system to help you get a review and potentially a referral? Do you make sure to add them to your database and that you put them in some kind of ongoing follow-up so you don't just sell something and then check out and never talk to them again? Like, it should be a whole ongoing life cycle. And like I said, a flywheel, if the momentum is going, it will just go on forever. The momentum will push it on forever, as long as we see this as a whole mechanism. So the next thing a lot of people forget about is a listing is a perfect like breeder ground for content. You can have all kinds of pre-launch content, teasers, behind the scenes prep, like I was talking about, neighborhood spotlight, seller education posts. During the listing, of course, you have your listing announcements, your open houses, your showings, but you can do virtual walkthroughs. You can have all kinds of things. You can have specialty events. You can have influencer events. And then post-close, again, make use of that content, especially if your listings are really beautiful or special or different. Like, look at each one. And you've got, like I said here, you probably have at least 12 or more content moments that you might be missing, because all you're doing is just listed, just sold, something like that.
And Jane, going back to that, for agents that are sitting here and listening and they don't have a current listing, you guys can still do this. Like, literally, you could reach out to a friend of yours that has a listing, like somebody in your brokerage that has a listing that's not doing this. And by the way, that's a lot. It's a ton of people not creating content for their own listings. So you can actually say, hey, can I jump over to your property and do a few listings to bring some buyers in? Like, you guys can do this. Like, it's not like you it's off limits. If they give you permission, go after it. And that alone, you can use that to build up your own. I got an agent that just started like 6 months ago, and they've been struggling getting a listing. And recently I've been starting to see, because I told him, hey, you should just go out and have some fun. And so finally he's going out, he's reaching out to these luxury homes in the area, these people, the agents that have the luxury homes listed that you can tell aren't doing a lot of marketing with them because it's sitting right now. And they will literally beg you to go out and do it if you're an agent. And so go out there and do marketing and say, hey, check this awesome out. Do some teaser posts, do some video. Like, there's no harm, no foul, guys, right? You can use that, and that alone will bring in listings. There's just like it's like, why do they freaking create HGTV? Right? Because people want to see freaking homes.
People want to see it.
And so you have the power in your hands. You have one of the best products in the market to show people. But sometimes we don't do a good job with that, right? You should be not just listing a freaking property. You should launch the freaking property. Like that,
for sure,
like,
you need to.
Like, I think about infomercials a lot. Like, I don't know if they even do those anymore. I don't have cable anymore. But the infomercials where they used to say, "Yo, check this out! Look at amazing!" And they get excited about the product, and show the freaking product. That's what we should be doing with our listings.
And every time, if you do have a price improvement. We never call it a price drop or a reduction, but if you have a price improvement, that's a whole new launch opportunity. You can do everything fresh, change out the front image, blast it out there again, do some Meta or Google ads. Everything that you have an opportunity to get it out there again, fresh, is a great opportunity. Screenshot this page. This is your 30 to 60 days of business planning to leverage every single listing. You can do these things. I promise you, this alone will really impact your business and your opportunities, because
you could do half of these, Jamie. I'm looking through, I'm like, you could do half of these things and truly be a game changer to your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so using your listing as a trust engine, we've got awareness. We are getting your listing out there. People are becoming aware of what you do. You're building trust, because that's one reason also that your brand voice is important to be consistent, because it's build trust, because everything is consistent. It's making sense. They're not trying to, figure out, oh, wait, was that person over there? Or just doing that. Then they make a decision. They have the experience. So the decision could be to have the listing appointment, to see the listing, to meet with you. Then they have an experience. That's why creating that amazing experience, that thoughtful 5-star experience, is so important, whether it's the listing presentation and you showing up, whether it is having buyers come to your listing, whatever it is, try to think about the experience for all the players in that transaction. Like, even just making sure when you get a listing under contract, do you have a great experience with the buyer's agent? Do you send out a really nice timeline? Make it super easy for them to understand what's going on. Think about every step where you can have a great planned experience for the people. All of that leads to referrals and repeated awareness. So that's kind of how that whole thing starts to move. So, as a recap, a luxury listing flywheel gives you better positioning, which leads to stronger listings, which leads to elevated marketing, which leads to greater visibility, which leads to deeper trust, which then leads to more listings. I'm sure you understand how, when these things are deployed just on your listings, how they're going to bring you more business. And that's the whole thing. It becomes this whole working thing. So here's a few places where, excuse me, sometimes agents aren't quite living up to their full potential and full opportunity. Brand voice, I just can't tell you enough. It's really important to kind of dial that in. Weak research habits. And I need some agents right now, because I can't tell you how many agents I've talked to recently. And most of the properties I sell and the properties of the people I coach are normally fairly unique. They're different. And people are falling back on like RPR for their valuations. You really need to understand the market, the data, and be a skilled professional with your CMAs, with your market knowledge, understand what's going on.
And honestly, Janie, that you look through your listings. I went through your area recently of the MLS. I'm like, there's a lot of overpriced, in my opinion, just looking. And I went and looked at my own cities. I'm looking at a couple different cities from other agents, and I'm like, wow. Okay, is it our fault, or is it just because we can't talk to the seller about, the true market and where it's at?
Yeah.
Because it could be both. And I believe me, we've all worked with those sellers where it says no, but also you have a plan and you can present that plan to them and say, hey, look, we'll list it for that, but in 2 weeks we're going to go down to this. Like, this is the true market price. And
Right.
so sometimes you got to be in. That's why a lot of properties are sitting right now, because the expectations weren't set correctly.
Right. 100%. That's almost always why.
Right.
The next thing where agents, and you can drop a chat, me, if this is you, inconsistent lead gen. Either it's sporadic, or you don't do it for long enough to get the results, or you rely only on motivation.
Busy, and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that again. Then because guys, we know that what you do today is your business 3, 6, 9 months down the road. Like, that's real estate. So there's no better time to start than 3 months ago when it comes to real estate lead gen.
And a lot of agents don't have a post-close strategy. They close, and then that's often the last time the seller hears from them. And we know that sellers would work with the same agent. It's like 75, 85%. They just don't, because they never heard from them again. So just that alone would increase your business. So here's another page we're screenshotting what to build first. Because you're like, Janie, Jeremy, that's a lot of great ideas. But what should I do? Clarify your brand voice. Please, 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 please. ChatGPT is incredible with this. It will really help you with this. In fact, I have a ChatGPT prompt that I wrote. If any of you want to message me separately, I'll send you that prompt. It's really good. I've used it for quite a few brands that I've created over the years for myself or for other agents. Build your research rhythm. You've got to stay on top of the market. Like, you have to stay on top of the market. Choose 1 to 2 lead gen channels to really maximize. Don't try to do 5 things. Don't say, I can't do this until I do this. No, pick 1 or 2 and say, I'm not going to add an additional lead gen channel until this is running. This is one of the biggest things I see agents just get paralyzed with all the things they feel they should be doing, and then they don't start any. Or they have 15 things in like B stage out of all over the place. Yeah. So strengthen your appointment process so that you are really dialed in. I have a whole 5-day challenge about making sure you are ready for your listing appointment, because that's one of the things I find most agents, they might be doing great lead gen, and then all of a sudden they get an appointment for tomorrow and they're freaking out because they don't have their listing presentation. They don't have their materials. They haven't honed their pricing strengths or something like that. So strengthen your listing appointment process and then build your post-close plan. Like, work on those things, figure out where are you weak and where are you strong to figure out what to work on.
I got a question for everybody. You can drop in the chat, guys, or drop it in the comments feed where you're watching Instagram or YouTube. What's your I'm trying to find the best word for this. What is your rating on using your CRM? Like, are you a 1 or are you a 10? And here's the goal. I meet with agents every day, and I went through. I'm a systems guy, so I go through their systems and I make them cry. But I go through their systems and I'm like, are you sending market reports? Are you sending saved searches? Those are automated things, guys, that you could set up that is a game changer to businesses. I met with an agent this morning that had 6,000 contacts, and I asked him, I said, are you using this as a bank account or using this as like just a storage place, a closet you just throw crap in? And he's like, well, probably just a storage. I don't even touch them. And I'm like, here's the deal. If you use it as a bank account, you want to actually access that bank account. And so you have to actually send people things. You have to send emails. You have to send text messages. You have to actually use it. And so the best CRM out there, and I'm not going to talk about which ones I love, but the best CRMs out there are the ones you actually freaking use. So if you haven't logged into your CRM in 2 days, you're behind the times. There's work you can be doing. So get to work.
So we're going to recap everything. Your foundation is mindset, language, and your brand voice. That is your solid foundation. Your next tier up is your data and research. Your next tier up is marketing of your listings, open houses, marketing to your sphere, PR if it's potential, really honing those conversion skills at the appointments, pricing strategy, commission conversations, even a menu of commissions to help counter the pressure you may feel on commission. Say, sure, I can do a variety of commissions. Here's what you get in the regular plan, the upgraded plan, and the premium plan. You know, people sometimes think they can get the premium plan and pay the regular plan price, and that's not how it works. That's not how it works in plane seats or automobiles or anything else. It's not how it works with us.
It was so cool, Jay. I met with I was helping an agent. They're focused on new homes and new home developments, and so I was helping them with a plan because they were like, well, I can include in my marketing, I can include virtual tours, I can include 3D home walkthroughs and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's going to cost you money. You better be increasing your price point. So she's like, what do you mean? I said, look, here's the deal. Start at 6%, right? You can give 3% to the buyer, start at 6%. But if that new home construction builder wants the lead package, charge them 9%. Like here's the deal. You can't eat everything. Right. So you run it as a business. So know what your value is. That's why I tell you, shout this from the rooftops. If you feel like your value should be stronger, present your value stronger. Because guys, go try to rent a plane today, or go try to rent a flight, bought a flight today, and literally it's unbelievable. Like I feel like I was like upcharged $400 of the day for wanting peanuts or something like that. I'm like,
do you want some water?
I know.
Oh, and then the last thing is what Jeremy mentioned. Go through your operations. Yeah. You might not have everything systematized right now or structured out or well put together, but you can work on them. Make quarterly plans on this quarter that we're in now, the third quarter, which is crazy, but we just started the third quarter. What are one or two systems that you want to really look at and dial in? That could be your checklist, working with a VA, working with your vendors, your team systems, your communication system, or your marketing plan. Whatever it is with your listing, that's going to, again, everything you do is not just to sell the listing, it's to help get you more business, so that every listing is that flywheel pulling you forward with more and more opportunities. The goal isn't more tactics. It's one elegant, repeatable operating system that grows stronger with every listing you take. So one listing, many opportunities, a stronger business every cycle. So a luxury listing is not a single commission. It's a credibility asset, a content engine, a relationship engine, a proof of work asset, and quiet leverage point that positions you for the next opportunity before this one has even closed. When you build the system correctly, every listing strengthens the next listing, and this is a luxury listing flywheel. So you can follow me on Instagram. My name is Janie C. I'd love to stay in contact with you. Like I said, if you want to reach out, I'll send you that prompt about how to create your brand voice, your brand aesthetic. It will help you even create a whole brand guide, so that if you work with a VA or you work with anybody or a team, it can help you distill down even colors, fonts, vibe, aesthetic, everything like that, because that helps just subconsciously build trust and authority, because everything kind of looks coherent. So did we have any questions?
Yeah, there's a couple of questions. I'm going to go through them real quick. I saw me highlighted a few right here in my chat real quick. You can watch the replay, guys, on YouTube. So it's going to be live on YouTube. It's going to be there the whole time. So just jump on there and watch the replay anytime you want. What would you recommend as the best way to market potential buyers on the coming soon listings at $699 price point? It's all about teasers, guys. Like you're launching a listing. That's really what it's about. And so what can you provide without breaking, going to real estate jail? What can you show that's going to get people excited about what you have that's coming up? Like whether you're focused on agents or whether you're focused on buyers, it's all about prep stuff. And so have some fun with it. Like literally, I saw an agent the other day that took a picture of them with the new house's door behind them. That's all they showed. And they were like, I can't wait to show you what's behind this. And then they got tons of likes and comments. I'm like, okay, that's pretty freaking cool. And so, or you can't wait to see this kitchen. And literally don't show the kitchen. Then the next post you're showing the kitchen. You're setting yourself up on a story. I think all that's great stuff. I did see one more, Janie. I think that
I saw one from D. Walsh. It says failing at niche market when applied to doing it every single day. Can you explain what you mean so we can help answer that? Because I'm like the niche queen. I believe in niches. so much.
Yeah. So what is your niche? Go ahead and put in the chat what your niche is, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about some maybe strategies for that real quick. Couple more. What is a commission? Or is that? What is a commission a la carte
commission menu?
Yeah. So literally think about it like this. You guys have seen those websites where you have option A, option B, option C, and you have all the features that belong to each one. Like that could be an option for you guys. I've seen a lot of different menus from agents to say, hey, 6%, 7%, 8%. I mean, don't start low, guys. Don't do like 2% or anything like that. You're worth way more than that. But just know you can build those just like the websites have them. The pricing websites have A's, B, C options, or think of it like a bronze, silver, gold kind of package. Hey, I've got options for everybody. Bring it on.
Man, this is a really great. This is more comments.
I love it. Thank you guys for being
here. Yeah, I really appreciate. I'm reading them. I really, really appreciate all of you. Being so engaged and active.
Every other week we got 3 masterclass sessions left, 90-day boot camp sessions left, which is awesome. Thanks you guys for joining that. For those who are part of that. I'm moving to a brand new town next month. Need to talk to Janie. Yeah, you do. Yeah, she's a rock star at really what she's done down. Where would you move from, Janie? Where did you move from?
I moved from Miami to St. Augustine. So both in the state of Florida, but entirely different.
Huge world difference.
Entirely different. I now live in a town of less than 1,000 people in St. Augustine, outside of St. Augustine.
I see 55 plus is your niche. Luxury, probate are my specialties. Rock on. It's a great opportunity for all those right now.
Northern Gulf Coast real estate. What I would start if you're moving to a new area, 100% expireds. Like I would go hard on expireds because those are people who've already tested who they thought was the one to list and sell their home. They've tested their friend. They've tested the realtor. Now they're ready to get serious. So that's what I did. And I went from 0 to number 9 in my MLS in 2 years just by going after expireds. And I did it by mailing. I didn't even do it by calling. And he or she is going from Pensacola to Sarasota as well. Sarasota is amazing because there's amazing architecture and history in Sarasota. Great price points in Sarasota. So go after the expireds.
Yeah, somebody talk about probates again. Feel free to DM me, guys. You can find me a marketing savvy coach on pretty much all the platforms. I will send you my probate Canva template. I create it for an agent, and I'm like, yeah, you can have it. It's free. It's got a QR code, all that good stuff on it. Feel free to change it to whatever you feel like. I'll be glad to send that to you on DM. All right. All right. That's awesome, guys. Yeah, this has been a fantastic session. Thank you guys on Instagram for hanging out with us. Thank you guys for hanging out on YouTube with us. Really appreciate the comments. We'll be back again next month on another amazing topic. Janie's going to be, she's always brings like rock star gold stuff, guys. And so if you don't follow her, go ahead and jump on socials, follow Janie. She always drops cool stuff and sees cool examples. And she's got courses, she's got everything. So you could really dive into all of her world and really she'll share exactly how she does things. So awesome. You guys are amazing. Appreciate y'all. Janie, thank you so much for joining. Have a good one and be blessed, guys. See y'all.
Bye.